Hello.
Moshi moshi.
Moshi Moshi. Are you ready for some Ace Attorney?
Always ready.
Alright, this is going to be interesting because I just spent the last 2 hours doing karaoke.
Oh.
So you can say
That sounds fun,
you
though.
can say that my voice is all warmed up. Or you
Maybe
can say that I am boned.
it might be a little too warm.
Oh, it's so warm. Oh, no, it's hot. It's hot. Oh, it's burning. It's burning.
Fire. Oh. Now you can breathe fire. Congratulations.
Okay.
Your voice. I like your new loading screen. It's kawaii.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I haven't updated my break or ending screen, so they're the same, but I'm slowly going through it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I recently started drawing on my iPad again, so I decided to make myself some stream assets. Mostly because I've had the same ones for a while now.
Mm.
Give it like 2 or 3 minutes. The fact that I do these myself is quite charming. Yeah,
It is charming.
See, this is just one of those things where it's like, you learn how to do things primarily because you don't have money to pay other people to do things.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Yeah. This is why I'm perpetually like, I am perpetually low on time. Who's the guy that does carpool karaoke? I don't know.
Oh, James Corden.
Oh, God. James Corden?
The man who was in Cats. That's what he's known as now to me. That's him.
That's him, yeah. He took what was a cute concept and it suddenly, like, nosedived.
We're talking about Into the Woods. Oh.
Let's see. Okay, alright. Let's see. Where's my Ace Attorney screen? Shall we begin?
Yeah.
Bonk. Oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna finish up this trial, however long it takes. If it takes an hour, it takes an hour.
I mean, drunk and a little high. Hello, Gwen.
I feel like that. It do. All right, let's go.
Do. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here, principally. That the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could possibly have committed this crime. Bonk. No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back.
Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already. Lord Van Zeeks, is this true?
Very well. Name the person, if you will. And if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing.
You will name this other person who could have perpetuated the crime.
Cry!
Cry!
The defense would once again like to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord.
Once again?
My assistant made the same request earlier, in order to finally reveal the truth about this case.
Woo.
It's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garrideb.
Me? Me? Oh, dearie me.
Hi, man.
That request has already been denied. But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garrideb, answer me this.
What do you want now, you little toad? All right.
Oh, wow. Don't gotta be mean about it. Jeez. At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garrideb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road.
Well, what of it?
You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open top-hinged casement window, the book plummeted directly downward, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident.
Yes, and as I said, what of it?
During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garrideb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before?
Oh. I don't recall it.
Seriously?
Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband?
Boy, this marriage is in shambles.
And anyway, the man over there in all that regalia said members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he?
Conveniently, yes. No, I have no recollection of saying that at all, juror number 4.
Oh!
Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out.
Huh? But that's just a common or garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know? What's that?
Are you joking?
What are you saying? Please, Mrs. Garrideb.
Oh my god, did she kill that person?
She has a bunch of knives. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it. But
I mean, okay, in all fairness, she isn't like dead.
But she's saying she couldn't bear the thought of injuring anyone.
Yeah.
Look at the state of her husband.
That's very true.
Poor woman. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault.
Oh boy.
My fault. Mm-hmm.
Shook. I think we've been through this dialogue.
Yeah.
pepper. Single rice. Warrant card. Oh boy.
You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now. Chop chop. Do your worst.
Well,
Mr. Naruhodo.
if I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already. Maybe not thrown it. Maybe that was not a good choice of words. Then take the stand, Jer.
Oh.
The prosecution does not object. The defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks.
I'm going to have to testify. Juror number 4. As I'm sure you will appreciate, having observed it with your own eyes today, witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware. Oh, dearie me. So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garadeb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth.
If he doesn't object, then you know this will go poorly for you. You know, it's very possible that he's just leading us into an elaborate trap.
Do you concur, counsels?
Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here, in the Old Bailey. And I'm a lawyer. Bro, you've already gone through a trial and a half.
Yeah, we've already been here for a while.
Witness, state your name and occupation.
Yes, my name is Joan Garadeb. And I'm, well, I'm a juror and such like.
If I was the prosecutor. Yeah, that's fair.
Hi, Magpie.
I mean, like, to be fair, it's not like we haven't seen Van Zeeks be like not a terrible person sometimes, right? Like sometimes he's just like, yes. Sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid or what anymore. Sad state of affairs.
The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam? Yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. You've yet to see him favor justice over winning. I mean, to be fair, in his mind, at least in the last case, winning was justice, because that guy was shady as fuck.
That's true.
And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh, dearie me. Oh.
Shut up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now.
Ah. Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
Sometimes he likes justice with a side of racism. Yeah, that's true. The part of his brain that's just like justice is fighting with the part of his brain that's like racism. Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? I'm about to testify as well, don't you?
But what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John. I presume you are Mr. John Gerdeb?
Yes, sir. Former second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. Seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yes, quite.
I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question.
Sir, at once. Tapping the Admiral. I still don't understand what the fuck that means. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out though, and got the window open.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I'd notice if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. That bally thing in the victim's back really was one of ours. Good job of proving it, I think. I think I've lost what this guy's accent was.
You think you're there? It sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening.
Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield, you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment. Wow, thanks for the bits. Are we still talking about the marital quarrel here?
Well... I must say I'm dubious about that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife.
In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end. And Zeke's may well be right.
Well, whatever the chances. We only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination.
reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe.
Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garrida.
I wonder if he's gonna eat it in this testimony. A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Garrida found the note, discovering her husband's little secret.
And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too.
What a sordid state of affairs.
Hell on earth. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, it was wide of the mark anyway.
His lip trembling.
He's like,
A likely story.
these waters run very deep.
And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it? Bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine really. Just so happens there was some bathwater around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out.
A most precarious situation you put yourself in.
Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street. Water main isn't connected yet. I have to draw water from a public water pump during the day, if you need any, you see?
The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night.
What whiners?
Water? Although that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe.
God, no wonder he doesn't have any money. He spends all of it on fucking
Oh
water.
my god, water.
The defendant, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country.
He gets paid by the Japanese government to be here, and he has to spend all that money on bottled water.
Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
No. I don't think that's it.
It's not it.
Have you actually seen the state of the man? Think he showers with bottles of water in the middle of like the winter night in London? I don't think so.
I believe he uses all of his income to buy books.
Well, anyway, point is I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. Even though the room was on fire?
As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw.
Oh my.
She must throw.
That is most certainly not true of a Zusato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo.
How did you know I was thinking that? Can you read minds? Oh god! So, please, cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day?
In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge, a napkin.
Chotto!
Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garadeb! Oh, don't shoot! Sorry, I beg your pardon. Did your wife's remarks just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just the barrage of projectiles that the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker, I seem to recall. How is like more in your house not broken? You threw a fire poker? That would take out your window. Ouch. And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with everybody. Oh! Good grief, woman! We're not at home now. This is a court of law. You can't pour tea into my pipe. Oh, Jesus!
Oh, dearie me. Ever so sorry, dear.
What's she even doing with the teapot in here?
Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you. Obviously.
Take a look at this then. How do you suppose that happened, hmm?
Apparently everything but a knife.
Oh, his pipe is broken. This thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did. Yes. And when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. Smoke tea every day. I see. Your pipe was broken. Never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now.
You are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? Is she gaslighting him? Oh no!
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
No!
Oh my god. This is like, what's an exaggeration? That never happened. He's just like, I'm literally holding the broken pipe. I wonder what we should make of this account. Could be important. The defense believes Mr. Garrideb's remarks just now to be of great significance.
Yaddy.
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes, as well as hearts, may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony.
Indeed. Common sense, one might say.
Might one?
In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir?
Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me. There you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady.
Jesus Christ.
Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence.
I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruhodo. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down.
Oh, no, it's fine. Thanks to Susato-san, we have some new evidence to work with. We should examine it carefully.
Well, thank you for that rebuttal, Mr. Garrideb. Now if we could return to the crux of the matter.
But before that, let's look at the pipe. There's a small nick out of the bowl here. Look, it appears to have been made relatively recently.
And see how there are little scrapes and dents all over it? It's clearly a well-loved pipe.
Huh. Yes, you're right. It seems to me recently that being well-loved goes hand in hand with getting some battle scars. Accepting the gentleman's pipe sounds like an intuitive. Sure does. This particular nick is catching my eye, though, because it's clearly new. Huh. Looks to be in a sorry state with the bandage around it, doesn't it? Why is this still in here? But for some reason, it feels slightly ominous to me. Like it's trying to shout out a warning. Probably because it's the same blue as Mr. Garrideb's dressing gown.
I suppose it must have considerable sentimental value to Mr. Gyarados. Given that he's gone to the trouble of repairing it like this.
Either that, or he can't afford to replace it. Yeah, well, we got another question right here, Boyo. Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe here.
Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I think.
Yeah, let's turn it over and give it a shake. What? What's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. Oh, sorry, that was Suseta. The tip of a
That's
blade?
right.
Surely it couldn't be. That would be too weird.
Where could that have come from?
This is the tiny piece of metal we found in the chamber of Mr. Gyarados' pipe.
Oh, you're doing it again? Oh,
It looks like the tip of a blade or something.
The tip of a blade?
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
I don't really know. I'm just kind of trying to rub my brain cells together. There's something niggling me, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is.
generate some conductive heat. Start a fire.
Perhaps in that case, it would be wise to examine some of the other pieces of evidence again.
You betcha, buddo.
But do.
Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo, just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing.
Wait, part of it's missing? I could be wrong, but I've just got a feeling. You remember this?
Ah, that's the tiny fragment of metal that we found inside Mr. Gyarados' pipe.
Yes, and just maybe.
Oh my, it's a perfect fit.
Somehow, I just knew it.
Yeah, somehow, right?
Somehow. Welp.
What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim?
Wait, what? No?
Wait, what?
Whatever.
All right, well, we know what it is.
We know what it is.
Fine,
We'll
we're-
just we'll just press the last two statements and fix it. That's the extent of their testimony, is it?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I think we've heard all this before, to be honest. I can't say I'm particularly confident that we'll be able to prove anything new from this testimony.
But in this cross-examination, it's absolutely essential that we establish how this knife came to be at the scene of the incident.
Yes, I know.
I'm sure both of them must be feeling very worried. Worried that it was in fact a knife belonging to one of them that caused the victim's injury.
If we could find even a tiny shred of evidence to support that theory, it would clinch this trial for us. It would explain everything. Don't worry, miss. Don't worry, Naruto. We got it.
Yes, it would.
So for Soseki-san's sake, we must find that last crucial piece of evidence. Sorry, would you care to elaborate? Nothing to say, really. Rather partial to a spot of carving, you see. Items and whatnot. Fishing tackle, you know, that sort of thing.
It's a passion we both share. I like to carve little wooden trinkets too. And then there's my leather work.
Sorry to say, we're always losing knives about the place. And we have dozens of things.
They sell them at the market sometimes. 20 for the price of 19. Needless to say, I snap them up. John prefers to use 2 knives at meal times too, instead of a knife and fork.
Why?
What?
Now, John. You don't want people thinking I'm some kind of savage. Oh!
Why the pipe?
Here we go again with the scaldings. Why are they being so evasive?
I imagine it's because they don't want to believe it. They can't bear the thought that it might have been one of their knives that injured the victim.
Which is entirely understandable, of course, but still. Go on with your testimony, witnesses. Sir. So you have no intention of admitting it was your knife, unless we can produce proof?
Oh, his lip again.
Even though there's no other credible possibility if Mr. Natsume is innocent? You forget, my Nipponese friend, that it has yet to be established that the accused is not responsible for the attack. As if I could forget. If only there was some way to know who had handled the knife. But I suppose a wizard like that is just a dream.
Perhaps you're thinking of fingerprinting, Mr. Naruhodo.
What kind of dark magic would you have to do to know that? What? You mean it's not a dream? That sort of wizardry really exists? Sorcery.
Whenever people touch anything, they leave behind a unique pattern from their skin, or so they say.
But I can't see anything. There are already countries in the world where these so-called fingerprints can be used as evidence. Lord Strongheart is currently discussing the matter at the Ministry of Justice.
Yes, I believe we are rapidly approaching an era of scientific methods of investigation.
But for now, we shall have to find an alternative method of proving our assertion. That this knife found in the victim's back was originally in Mr. and Mrs. Garradep's house.
Ugh, if only I could transplant this whole incident to several years in the future. So-called fingerprints? No? Why not?
That's not right. Even though you know the answer, you have to do it our way.
You've been presenting the metal fragment, right?
No, I've been presenting the knife. Maybe I do have to present the metal fragment.
Oh yeah, definitely present the fragment, yeah.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna grab a save really quickly because we know what the answer is. We just don't know where to put it.
That is always gonna be the case. Okay, prove the. No.
Okay, present.
Yeah.
Knife.
Oops. Knife.
Oh, okay. You just have to present the knife.
Yo!
Not the knife. Mr. Garradeb, could I ask you to take a good look at this, please? You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't? You can't? Used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course. But that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest. Oh.
Oh, he does. Dearie me, it's rather wearing being asked about every other letter in every other word.
This explains some things. You must be very dizzy. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence? It was lodged inside the chamber of Mr. Garridib's pipe. My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got in there.
And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that it is in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road?
I am. What? When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord.
It's preposterous. How could he do that? Can he do that?
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case?
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there's a small piece at the tip of the blade that is missing. A common issue with the inferior blade sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones. You're gonna say that if they have glasses, but Judge Santa is literally wearing some? Yeah, that's true. They definitely not only did they have glasses. If you look up pictures of like Japanese students in Britain at the time, they all have glasses.
And what of this particular knife?
No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim. No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garridib's pipe. He's so dramatic.
Good grief! Lord Von Zeeks?
I don't believe it.
Almost like he got hit by a wooden stake in him chest.
Look at him JoJo posing right now. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match.
Good golly gosh! Order! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery?
I think that's the first time we've ever seen Van Zeeks actually phased. This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle.
A miracle?
So, Van Zeeks has figured it out, has he?
Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once.
Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrett's pipe?
Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony.
I had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Had to clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did. Yes. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Oh, dearie me. During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrett had flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrett, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time, which caused the tip to break off, of course.
Good lord.
Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrett's pipe. Chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1! And yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window. In short, this knife, which fell from the window of the Garrett's house, is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below.
Oh, gosh. Oh, dear. Oh.
No!
No.
What? What? What?
Break the chalice out.
He's ballin'. A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it is just a theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see... it's spoilt by an insurmountable inconsistency. An insurmountable what?
Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified?
An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back. Yes, in her...
Oh! That's right, you silly little man.
Oh, she's hitting him with the ring on her hand, too. Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about? Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and fallen to the ground. If the knife that struck her had fallen from above, there's no possible way it could have planted itself into the victim's back. I mean, that's such an easy one, though. She bent down to pick up the book that came first.
Order! Order! Quite right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above,
Ouch.
it would have struck her on the top of her head.
Good evening, Paul. How are you?
Hello, Pa.
Well, lost for words. Look.
I knew it. I never liked his theory in the first place.
I don't know though. What really happened? You made soup. Congratulations. Thanks for making me.
Wow. Wow. How nice.
It would appear the defense has made rather a spectacular blunder.
If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. Oh, chin up, bud. We were so close. I could see the truth. I was so sure we were on the right track. But now the way has been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words...
We simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand.
Miss Susato.
You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all. And your mind went blank. But if the path you are on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there.
It seems you have nothing to say, my Nipponi's friend. Yeah, because I'm gonna save right here. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed. Believe in the law that believes in you. My God, like watching it from the back is just ruined. This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of the back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying?
Counsel?
There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer.
Goodness!
Utter madness!
Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak.
This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is... This, the fourth book found at the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. Oh!
Let's go!
Yeah, pop that music! Woo!
Let's go!
The burnt book?
Is that not Mr. Gerdeb's book?
Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand. But as we all now know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that.
Quite so. As part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road.
That's true. However, as part of his testimony, Constable B made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. But what made you place the book that, But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? Oh, well, sir, that's because, that's how I found it. When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. In other words, the victim had already picked the book up of her own volition. And clearly, it must have been before she suffered the knife wound.
Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything.
So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? By Jingo. I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now.
Oh, dearie me.
We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Garrett household onto the pavement below. At precisely the moment the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment. The young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her.
The book I threw.
Yes, Mrs. Garrett. What do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement?
Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down. Oh, and picked the book up.
Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book.
Oh, heavens!
And when the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over, picking up the book, the next object fell from the room above, the jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. And at the same time, walking by chance, directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Well, I never.
Yeah, literally, moral of the story, do not throw knives. It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark and the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above. And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker.
So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place.
Definitely don't throw books followed shortly by knives out of the window in 19th century Britain. Yep. Don't have domestic disputes with knives in front of open second-story windows by Fall Out Boy. Yes. No. This was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. God, that song fucking slaps.
The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that.
Unfortunate accident, so no one's gonna talk to the guys out there that are obviously toxic relationships. Yeah, there's some problems here.
Poor Mrs. Garrett.
Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well. John, dear.
It's all right. I know.
I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry. Oh.
My man's just a beanpole. This poor man's doing squats.
His robes. Oh. Lord Van Zeeks, what news of Mrs. Gardeau?
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events had left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern.
Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
I mean, it might have honestly been much worse if it hit her head, so maybe we got off lucky. There is some good news, however, my lord. I have just had word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her.
How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems.
Yes, that is good news.
So, Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Hey.
Yes.
On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir.
This is the first case that we've ever really done in this series where like someone hasn't like died. Like everyone makes it out alive.
You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, our great British races, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies.
There was also no murder, it's true. I mean, there have been cases that have been accidental murders, but there are still murderers.
Culture!
No, it is me who should be begging your pardon. Oh no, Mr. Natsume. That evening, the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes. I jumped to the wrong conclusion again, in my confusion.
What conclusion, sir?
I was sure that the woman was dead.
Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed too.
I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me. Poor Soseki-san. His imagination really has got the better of him.
Yes, poor man.
So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help! For a doctor! For the police!
Oh.
Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. And for that, I'm truly sorry.
Oh.
One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by this spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both.
Oh.
It's all thanks to Lord Van Zeeks. What a guy!
What a guy. He's so great.
Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Yes, my lord.
In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court?
As the foreman of the jury, I can assure you we reached a fair and just conclusion.
I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times.
Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure.
She's in for the old being while she's out of action, you know, but I know what her decision would be.
I don't think that you can do that.
Doesn't mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work, but it's about time. I say, I'll have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I?
Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman.
This jury system is so extra. The flaming scales.
The flames of justice.
Yep.
Very well. Mr. Soseki Natsume, I hereby pronounce you. Confetti! Who cut the confetti in Great Britain?
I think I probably confetti makers. There's probably like a family that makes confetti.
And fireworks, yes. And finally, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, yes, Lord, sir.
You are now a free man once more.
It's the Confettiers Guild? Yeah, exactly.
It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. Gumshoe's ancestors. And may you never again be brought before me.
Never let me see you again. Oh, yes, sir. Of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. I'm transported to tears.
Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned.
February 3:17 p.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, locum. Wait, you mean me? Of course! Is there another locum here? Is there even one?
Compared to the original locum student Naruhodo, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it?
What's wrong with using my actual name? Oh, at last! I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Petty, hearty, happiness, hurrah!
Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted.
Would it be so hard just to say that then? Locum, you did it! You saved me from the brink! Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, not that! Lovely, loyal Locum lawyer! Yes? I mean, as I said before, I've just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings. And from high up windows, I see them looking down on me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback.
Oh, dear. I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume.
But
No one could possibly be that racist.
today, you Locum lawyer gave my gloom the boot.
Oh.
You stood firm behind that baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!" Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's to become of all my hard work? There you are, my dear fellows. There he is.
Hey! I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you.
Lady, what the fuck are you talking about? That dude walked up and stabbed me.
I see I am here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say.
Oh,
The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo, and I wish you the very best of luck.
It's just finished.
What? No! Then my haste was in vain! Oh no!
Ah! It's you! Herr Lock Sholmes!
Oh, have we met, sir?
This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light.
Charming. This is all your fault, Herr Lock Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind.
My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not?
Harsh.
Had she been taken to hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now.
Oh.
But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience.
I do feel very badly about how I behaved.
Well, never mind. Now then, what was it that you wanted to say to me, sir?
Nothing.
Priceless! Oh, I am sorry, really, but... that was quite priceless.
Poor Soseki-san.
Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty.
But there is no bright side.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume?
Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and now by the Reaper. Lord Van Zeeks. I haven't forgotten, you know, when facing that man in court means even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed. It will be all right. Oh.
It will be all right, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you.
Oh, that's good.
Hiya!
Yeah, see? Perfect.
With a perfectly executed Susato takedown.
I would live to see Susato take down Lord Van Zeeks.
Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning might be nice next time, Miss Susato. Oh, I don't think I can feel my spine. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan? Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh,
It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here, and the city it has shaped. And I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it.
that's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse?
That's not it at all! The more I learn of literature, the more this strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own. Oh, I see. A work of literature by Sasaki-san. Huh, could be an interesting read.
And what about Miss Susato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry, what about us?
Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot?
Why would we? Oh my god, we've only been here a week.
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet.
And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not?
That's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well then, you could take my lodgings. Oh, the windowless room? But what it lacks in windows, it more than makes up for with a floor, a ceiling, and walls.
Wow, wow.
Great. And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit?
Oh yes. It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call. We'll think about it, if that's all right.
Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative? Would you consider taking lodgings with me?
Really?
Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it is up in the attic, I might add.
Does it have windows? Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft?
I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price. And Iris is cleaning the room as we speak.
You can take your chances with evil spirit, yeah.
You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of?
Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to taking lodgings in the great detective's office's attic. I'm too overcome with words.
Not Iris again. What's your problem with Iris? So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then. She looks like the kind of character that you would play in World of Warcraft, Sean specifically.
Yes. Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist.
I don't know what to say, but thank you, and yes.
Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy. Locum, I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London. Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you too. It's a shame that we're gonna have to say goodbye so soon. Oh, you forgot we met Iris. We make a joke with a previous Iris in this series. Oh, I see. That's funny. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you're right.
Oh! I forgot.
Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day. Yes, I'm sure. And hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer. Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author.
Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, Mr. Sholmes.
I've little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening.
And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221 Baker Street.
Let's go! This fan fiction comes to life.
I mean, all right, fair enough. 20th February, 4:41 p.m. The attic room.
It looks like your room in Persona 5.
It does.
Main character's room.
You live in an attic there too, so.
Yeah.
So this
Is to be our new office, yes.
also where we sleep. Our office. I rather like the sound of that.
Hang on, my puppy apparently needs something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. We'll take a quick like little tiny break so I can pee then.
Okay, hello?
Welcome back.
Thank you. She needed to go out.
Oh, baby.
Her signal is to place head in lap and look up. Very needy. Well, hydrate.
Oh shit! I need some water. Hang on.
Okay.
I should have gotten some while we were on break. Back. Sorry, I'm terribly limited by the rate at which my Brita filter filters water.
Oh yes, me as well.
So sometimes I'll go out and I'll just be like, oh, I gotta fill it with water. Waits for it to trickle down.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay.
Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it?
I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's
Aw.
only a small step. I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now.
Oh.
Wow.
So, my dear fellows, do you like the place?
Oh God, stop it! I was thinking about my boyfriend. Oh, casual Sholmes.
Handsome.
Look at him.
Fluffy
Oh.
hair.
Mr. Sholmes, yes, thank you very much.
It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good. I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
I like that Ryunosuke and Susato just kind of look like normally dressed people, and then Mr. Sholmes is just kind of all over the fucking place. He looks like he came out of a Kingdom Hearts game.
He sees steampunk Sholmes.
I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate. Iris, you must let me help you. All right then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid.
Casual outfit gives me Prime game vibes. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel?
Yeah, when you play a gacha game, like the first uncap is normal outfit Sholmes, and then you get the 5-star uncap and he dresses like this.
Do you have your own office in the capital?
It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventures await us.
Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office in these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is.
Oh boy. Sorry?
London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights casts the darkest of shadows.
Shadows? What do you mean?
Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo.
I mean, he's right. It's sketch as fuck out here.
Welcome to London.
Of course, at the time, I had no idea of the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. But it wasn't long before my turn came. To lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. Oh, buddy.
Oh boy.
Ba-da-bum, bum, 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 bum. Okay, so we'll probably just end here, for today.
Oh.
Just because, we don't know how. Okay, so with the other games, it was a lot easier to guess the pacing. So like a day would be about an hour, or like a part of a day would be like investigation day 1 part 1 would like be about an hour, and then part 2 would be about an hour, right? This game kind of plays with the format a lot, so I never know how long it's going to take. Also, I just came off of karaoke, so
Yeah, well, you should rest your voice.
yeah, just wrap up the next case real quick. We can do it in an hour tops. RT, let's go.
Speedrun.
Gives you Otome game vibes.
Otome game.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It does look like a steampunk Otome game.
Otome.
Otome. So yeah, that means we'll end for now. A little early. There wasn't super a lot of the case left. But I'm glad we didn't try to power through it last time, because we would have been there for like 2 more hours. But yeah, nice short and sweet stream this week. We'll be back next week with the start of the last case. I think this is the last case of this game. You can do next week, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be here too.
Yosh.
All right, thanks for coming. Have a good night.
Thanks for
Have a
coming
good
on,
rest of your
everybody.
night.
Yay. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, and then
Yay.
if you're interested, tomorrow, in approximately 15 hours or so,
Oh.
we will be ranking all of the cleric subclasses in Dungeons and Dragons
Whoa.
5th edition.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Oh
the bard
boy.
one took like almost 6 hours, and I'm not confident that we'll be able to make better time than that, because the cleric has like twice as many subclasses.
Oh no.
It's gonna take so long.
How do you stream that long? So crazy.
Sometimes I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.
Watch the bard one 2 times. Yeah, you got like 15 hours.